After 60, staying healthy often feels like juggling pills, appointments and advice that changes every week. But here's the truth no one's talking about. Some of the most powerful tools to fight disease aren't new discoveries. They're old favourites we've forgotten. Tucked away in your pantry or skipped at the grocery store, these 6 everyday foods could quietly protect your heart, sharpen your memory and ease joint pain, all without prescriptions or side effects. Most seniors overlook them, but once you see what they can do, you'll never leave them off your plate again. Meet Clara. She's 71, a retired office manager from Indiana, living alone since her husband passed 5 years ago. For most of her life, Clara thought eating healthy just meant skipping dessert and buying low-fat yogurt. But last winter, everything changed. She started feeling unusually tired, not just the usual aging kind of tired, but the kind that made it hard to get out of bed. Then came the brain fog, joint stiffness and scary blood pressure spikes. Her doctor offered more medication. But Clara wanted answers, not just pills. That's when her daughter suggested something different, a visit to a holistic nutritionist. Skeptical but curious, Clara went, and what she discovered completely rewired her idea of food and healing. Turns out it wasn't about the latest trends or expensive supplements. It was about simple, time-tested foods her grandmother used to make, now nearly forgotten. Clara started adding them back into her meals. Within weeks, her energy returned, her mind felt clearer, and even her doctor noticed the difference. And that's why you're here. Because the same forgotten foods that helped Clara could quietly transform your health too. If you care about staying sharp and strong as you age, take a second to hit that like button and subscribe for more real advice that puts your well-being first. Fermented vegetables like sauerkraut or kimchi. Clara used to skip over the jar of sauerkraut in the grocery aisle without a second thought. It looked outdated, something her grandmother used to pile on hot dogs, not something that belonged in a healthy daily diet. But during her visit to the holistic nutritionist, sauerkraut was the first thing they talked about. Why? Because it's one of the most powerful and overlooked healing foods available, especially for people over 60. Fermented vegetables like sauerkraut, kimchi and even pickled beets were once a common part of meals in many cultures. They weren't just used for flavor, they were essential for preserving food without refrigeration. But in the process, they developed something modern diets desperately lack: natural probiotics. These foods are packed with live beneficial bacteria that help balance the gut microbiome. And why does that matter for seniors? Because after 60, your gut bacteria diversity drops, and that's directly linked to everything from weakened immunity to inflammation, poor digestion, and even mood swings. Clara had always dealt with what she called a grumpy stomach. Gas, bloating and constipation were just part of her day. But within 2 weeks of adding just 1 spoonful of sauerkraut to her lunch, she noticed something strange. Her stomach felt calmer, the bloating reduced, and even her afternoon energy slump improved. The nutritionist explained that gut health is connected to nearly every system in the body: digestion, immunity, and even how clearly we think. For Clara, it was like someone turned the lights back on. And if you're thinking, I wouldn't know where to start, don't worry. You don't need to make your own sauerkraut in a basement crock. Just look for raw, unpasteurized sauerkraut or kimchi in the refrigerated section, not the shelf-stable jars. These still contain live bacteria. Start with a teaspoon or 2 a day and build from there. You can add it to salads, sandwiches, or just eat it on the side. And if the tangy flavor seems too strong at first, Clara had a tip: mix it with a little avocado or mash it into hummus. The creaminess balances out the sharpness, making it easier to enjoy. One small spoonful might not seem like much, but for Clara it was the beginning of a big shift. Not just in how she felt physically, but in how she thought about aging. She stopped believing that discomfort was just something she had to live with. And that simple change opened the door to more healing than any medication had offered her in years. So ask yourself, when was the last time you gave your gut some love? Have you ever tried fermented foods like sauerkraut or kimchi? Or maybe your family had a traditional favorite growing up. Tell us your favorite, or the one you're curious about, in the comments below. You might inspire someone else to give it a try. Sardines, or wild-caught small fish. At first Clara wrinkled her nose. Sardines? The tiny fish in cans she used to pass by at the supermarket? Her only memory of them came from her father's late-night snacks, straight from the tin with a fork, and a strong smell that lingered in the kitchen for hours. But when her nutritionist brought them up as a superfood in disguise, Clara decided to give them another look, and what she discovered might surprise you too. Sardines, and other wild-caught small fish like anchovies or mackerel, are among the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet, and yet they're almost completely forgotten in most modern senior diets. Why? Because they've been unfairly labelled as cheap, smelly or old-fashioned. But those little tins are packed with something your aging body craves. Omega-3 fatty acids, calcium and vitamin D. Let's start with omega-3s, essential fats that reduce inflammation, protect the heart and support brain health. For people over 60, that's not just important, it's vital. In fact, studies have linked low omega-3 levels to memory decline, joint stiffness, and increased risk of heart disease. Clara didn't realize how much of a difference it made until she started sleeping better and waking up with less pain in her knees. All within weeks of adding sardines to her meals just 3 times a week. Then there's calcium and vitamin D, 2 nutrients critical for maintaining strong bones. As we age, our bone density naturally decreases, putting us at greater risk for fractures and falls. While many rely on supplements, sardines offer a natural way to get both, especially if you eat them with the soft edible bones included in the can. It might sound strange, but those little bones are loaded with absorbable calcium. Clara found a way to make sardines not just tolerable, but tasty. She started mashing them on a slice of toasted whole grain bread, mixing in a little mustard or olive oil and squeezing fresh lemon juice on top. Sometimes she even added a sprinkle of chopped parsley or capers for a bit of bite. It became one of her favourite quick lunches. No cooking, no mess, and packed with health benefits. The best part? Sardines are low in mercury, unlike larger fish like tuna or swordfish. That makes them especially safe for seniors who want the benefits of seafood without the risks. So, if you've been skipping over that little can in your pantry, maybe it's time to open it. Not just for your taste buds, but for your heart, bones and brain too. And here's a bonus. Clara started noticing her skin looked better, more hydrated and less flaky, something she hadn't even expected. Turns out omega-3s also support healthy skin from the inside out. The next food on Clara's list helped her sleep through the night for the first time in months. And it's probably sitting in your kitchen right now. Do you eat sardines or any other small fish? How do you prepare them? Or are you still trying to work up the courage to try? Share your thoughts or recipes in the comments. You might just change someone's mind. Number 3, pumpkin seeds. If you're like Clara, you probably only thought about pumpkin seeds around Halloween, maybe roasted with a little salt after carving a jack-o'-lantern with the grandkids. But after her holistic doctor handed her a small bag and said, "Snack on these daily," she raised an eyebrow. "Seeds?" she asked. "Aren't those just decorations?" Turns out pumpkin seeds, also called pepitas, are one of the most powerful tiny foods for seniors, and almost no one thinks to eat them regularly. Let's start with magnesium. After 60, your body's need for this mineral climbs. Yet it's also one of the most common deficiencies in older adults. Magnesium helps regulate blood pressure, muscle function, and even mood stability. Clara had been dealing with occasional leg cramps and trouble relaxing in the evenings. Her doctor explained that low magnesium could be the culprit, and that pumpkin seeds were a natural, effective source. Then there's zinc, an immune-boosting mineral that becomes even more important as we age. Zinc helps fight infections, supports wound healing, and even plays a role in maintaining prostate health in men. And unlike synthetic supplements that sometimes cause nausea or stomach upset, pumpkin seeds deliver zinc, along with fiber, antioxidants, and plant-based protein, all in one crunchy handful. But Clara didn't just pop them in her mouth plain. She got creative. She started sprinkling pumpkin seeds over her morning oatmeal, adding them to her homemade vegetable soup, and even blending them into a basil pesto for pasta night. The result? She noticed not only fewer sugar crashes during the day, but a strange and welcome calm, like her nerves weren't as on edge as they used to be. There's actually science behind that. Pumpkin seeds contain tryptophan, an amino acid that helps the body produce serotonin, the feel-good hormone, and eventually melatonin, which supports sleep. That could be one reason Clara started sleeping more soundly and waking up with less anxiety. And here's something that made her smile. Unlike pills or fancy health food, pumpkin seeds are cheap, shelf-stable, and don't require refrigeration. You can keep a little jar on the counter and grab a spoonful whenever you want a quick nutrient boost. No prep, no cleanup, just powerful benefits in every bite. For Clara, this snack became a small act of daily self-care. She even started toasting them with a pinch of cinnamon and sea salt for a treat that felt indulgent, but was secretly doing her body good. So the next time you're at the store, skip the pricey health trends and pick up a bag of these little powerhouses. Your heart, brain, and blood sugar will thank you. Do you use seeds in your meals? Maybe chia, flax or pumpkin? Share your favorite seed tricks in the comments. Your tip might inspire someone else to try something new. Now, if you've ever struggled with joint pain or stiffness, the next forgotten food might surprise you. It's an ancient remedy hiding in plain sight. When Clara's nutritionist suggested adding liver to her diet, she almost laughed. Liver, she thought. That's something you feed to the dog, not a 71-year-old woman. But after a conversation about the powerful nutrients packed into that humble organ meat, Clara decided to give it a try. The results, she says, were nothing short of transformative. For so many seniors, liver is one of the most overlooked and even feared foods. The thought of its strong taste, dense texture, and the stigma around it being too much often makes people run the other way. But when you look at its nutritional profile, it's impossible to ignore. Vitamin A, iron, B12 and folate, all in one nutrient-dense package. First up, let's talk about vitamin A. This isn't just some vitamin you read about in passing. It's crucial for maintaining good vision, especially as we age. It also plays a vital role in keeping your skin healthy, supporting your immune system, and keeping inflammation at bay. Seniors often experience vision problems due to a deficiency in vitamin A, which makes adding liver to the diet even more important. Then there's iron, a mineral that older adults tend to need more of, especially if they're dealing with fatigue, dizziness, or pale skin. Liver is one of the most bioavailable sources of iron, meaning the body absorbs it much more efficiently than from plant sources. Iron supports red blood cell production, and if you're feeling more sluggish than usual, that could be a sign of iron deficiency. But maybe the most surprising benefit for Clara was vitamin B12. As we age, our ability to absorb vitamin B12 from food decreases, which can lead to neurological issues, memory problems and fatigue. By adding liver to her meals, Clara noticed a boost in both mental clarity and energy. For her, the brain fog that came with aging seemed to lift, and she felt more awake and present throughout the day. In fact, Clara told us, "I've never felt this sharp at 71. I can focus on tasks without feeling drained, and my energy levels are through the roof." Now, I know what you might be thinking, but I can't stand the taste of liver. Here's where Clara got creative. Instead of eating liver on its own, she started blending it with ground beef. The taste? Almost undetectable. The texture? Still full of the rich nutrients her body needed. Clara made patties, mixed it into spaghetti sauce, and even made a savoury meatloaf. That way she got the benefits of liver without the overwhelming flavour she couldn't quite get over. The key is starting small, blending it into dishes you already enjoy. You don't need to go straight to a giant plate of liver. Just a few tablespoons mixed into your usual meals can provide a steady stream of all the vital nutrients your body needs. As Clara says, "Once I got past my fear of trying liver, it opened a whole new world of energy and mental clarity that I didn't think was possible at my age." The fact that something so simple and inexpensive could make such a big difference in her well-being left her speechless. And the best part, liver is affordable. It's often less expensive than most cuts of meat, and a little goes a long way. You can stock up and have it on hand for multiple meals without breaking the bank. So, whether you're adding it to soups, casseroles, or just mixing it into your favourite ground meat dishes, liver is one of those forgotten foods that you should definitely consider reintroducing to your kitchen. Number 5. Seaweed. Now, if you think seaweed is just something you encounter when you're at the beach or in sushi rolls, Clara's story might just change the way you think about it. When Clara first heard about adding seaweed to her diet, she had a pretty strong reaction. Seaweed? Isn't that something that's only for the ocean or sushi restaurants? Like many of us, she'd never considered it as a food she could enjoy regularly, especially since it wasn't commonly found in her grocery store's aisles. But then Clara learned about seaweed's powerful benefits, especially for seniors. This unassuming plant is a nutritional powerhouse that packs a serious punch when it comes to supporting the thyroid, helping detoxify the body and even balancing blood sugar. Let's dive into why seaweed is a forgotten gem and why Clara now makes sure it's part of her regular meals. First off, iodine. Did you know that as we age, our thyroid function can slow down, leading to sluggish metabolism, fatigue, and even mood swings? Iodine is essential for thyroid function, and seaweed is one of the richest natural sources of this mineral. In fact, wakame, a type of seaweed Clara now adds to her soups, contains an impressive amount of iodine. It helps to regulate metabolism, maintain energy levels, and keep your hormones in check. Clara was skeptical at first, but after learning that seaweed could help her metabolism work more efficiently, she was willing to give it a try. She started by snacking on roasted seaweed, the kind you can find in many grocery stores. At first, the salty taste was an adjustment, but Clara soon found herself craving it, and the benefits were immediate. She felt lighter, more energetic, and even noticed her skin looking clearer. But Clara didn't stop there. After experiencing the benefits of those crunchy snacks, she decided to incorporate wakame into her soups. It adds a mild, almost sweet flavour and gives a boost of nutrition without overwhelming the dish. She started using it in her daily miso soup and even added it to stir-fries. Over time, she realised that not only was her thyroid function improving, but her overall health seemed to benefit too. Seaweed also has detoxifying properties. It helps to cleanse the body of heavy metals and other toxins that can accumulate over the years. As we age, our detoxification processes slow down, making it harder for the body to eliminate waste efficiently. Seaweed supports this natural process, helping to flush out those toxins and leave you feeling more energized and refreshed. For Clara, the transformation wasn't dramatic at first, but over time, she realized she had more stamina during the day. She wasn't as tired in the afternoons, and her digestion felt smoother. The more she added seaweed to her meals, the more she noticed her body responding positively to something she couldn't ignore. And let's not forget the variety seaweed brings to the table. It's a versatile ingredient that can be eaten in various forms: roasted snacks, soups, salads, and even in smoothies if you want to sneak it into your diet. You can find different types of seaweed like nori, kombu, or wakame, which offer unique textures and flavors so you won't get bored. Seaweed is also incredibly affordable, often costing less than many supplements or fancy health foods. A simple pack of roasted seaweed snacks can last you for days, and adding a few spoonfuls of wakame to your soups costs next to nothing. Clara now swears by adding seaweed to her daily routine. She feels more vibrant, her metabolism is functioning better, and she's noticed a boost in overall well-being. Plus, it's a great way to boost your iodine levels naturally, which is so important for thyroid health, especially as you age. If you're new to seaweed, start small. You don't need to go overboard at first. Just add a little to your favorite soup or enjoy a snack. Over time, you'll start to feel the difference. Clara's advice? It's easy, it's cheap, and it's so good for your health. I wish I'd started sooner. Would you try seaweed if it helped your thyroid? Have you already given it a go? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts or favorite ways to prepare it. Now, the final food on our list might be the most surprising of all. It helped Clara with something you probably didn't expect, and it's something you can easily add to your daily routine. Stick around to find out what it is. Bone broth might sound old-fashioned, but when Clara first discovered it, she quickly realized it wasn't just for grandmothers or old cooking shows. This simple, humble drink has been gaining a reputation for its powerful benefits, especially for seniors. Let me share why Clara swears by it. When you think about broth, you probably imagine something that comes from a box, right? And let's be honest, we've all been there. Grabbing a carton of boxed broth off the shelf because it's convenient, but store-bought broth simply can't compare to the homemade goodness of bone broth. Bone broth is made by simmering bones, often from chicken, beef or turkey, for hours, extracting all the collagen, amino acids and minerals that are so beneficial to your joints, skin and gut health. The result is a rich, savoury liquid that's packed with nutrients your body needs to thrive as you age. This isn't just soup, it's a superfood. Let's dive into why bone broth is one of the most underrated foods for seniors and how it can make a real difference in your health. First, bone broth is an absolute powerhouse for joint health. It's loaded with collagen, the protein responsible for maintaining healthy joints, skin, and connective tissues. As we age, our body's ability to produce collagen declines, and this can lead to joint pain, stiffness, and even conditions like arthritis. But by sipping on bone broth regularly, Clara discovered that she could significantly ease knee pain and keep her joints moving more smoothly. In fact, after a couple of weeks of having a warm mug of homemade bone broth every evening, she noticed she didn't feel as creaky when getting out of bed in the morning. Clara was initially skeptical. Like many seniors, she wondered if it was worth the effort to make bone broth at home. But after learning how packed it is with amino acids, the building blocks of proteins, and how they can support joint repair and promote healthy connective tissue, she gave it a shot. The result? Clara now swaps her evening tea for a warm mug of bone broth, and she says it's the best habit she's picked up in years. The beauty of bone broth is that it not only supports your joints, but also has a significant impact on your skin's elasticity. Collagen, the same nutrient that's great for your joints, is essential for keeping your skin firm, smooth and resilient. Over time, as we age, our skin loses some of its elasticity, leading to wrinkles and sagging. But drinking bone broth regularly can help restore that natural firmness, giving you smoother, more youthful-looking skin. Clara noticed that her skin felt softer and looked more hydrated after a few weeks of adding bone broth to her daily routine. It's an easy way to keep your skin looking its best without having to invest in expensive creams or supplements. The best part, bone broth is completely natural and full of nutrients that your body can absorb easily. No chemicals or unnecessary additives, just pure nutrition from real food. Beyond your joints and skin, bone broth also works wonders for your gut health. It's rich in gelatin, which is a derivative of collagen that helps protect and repair the lining of your gut. A healthy gut lining is critical for digestion, immune function and even mental clarity. Many seniors struggle with digestive issues like bloating, constipation or reflux, but bone broth can help soothe and heal the gut lining, improving overall digestion. Clara noticed that her stomach felt calmer after meals, and she didn't experience the bloating she once did. And here's something Clara didn't expect. Bone broth helped her sleep better too. The amino acids, particularly glycine found in bone broth, are known to promote better sleep and relaxation. If you've ever struggled to get a good night's rest, a warm cup of bone broth before bed can be incredibly calming. Clara says that sipping her evening mug of bone broth helps her wind down and fall asleep more easily, leaving her feeling more refreshed in the morning. The beauty of bone broth is that it's so simple to make, and it's very inexpensive, especially when compared to many other supplements and health foods. Clara typically uses chicken bones, vegetables and herbs she already has in her pantry, and after a few hours of simmering, she has a rich, nourishing broth that she can store and sip for days. If homemade isn't your thing, there are plenty of pre-made bone broths available at stores. Just make sure you choose one that's organic, with no added preservatives or artificial ingredients. You don't need to be a gourmet chef to make bone broth, and you don't need to be a health expert to know how beneficial it can be. If Clara can make it a part of her daily routine, so can you. Have you tried bone broth before, or is it something you'd like to incorporate into your routine? Share your thoughts or questions in the comments. We'd love to hear how you use bone broth in your own kitchen. Clara didn't set out to completely overhaul her lifestyle. She didn't sign up for the latest diet fad or expensive supplement regime. Instead, she simply added these forgotten foods back into her daily routine. And the results? Nothing short of amazing. 6 months later, Clara had a follow-up appointment with her doctor. She was feeling better than ever, but what she didn't expect was to hear from her doctor that her inflammation markers were down and her energy levels had soared. Her doctor was shocked at the transformation. Clara had experienced a significant improvement in her overall health just by reintroducing simple, natural foods that had been neglected for years. Clara was stunned. After months of consistent, small changes, like adding sauerkraut to her lunch, enjoying sardines for lunch, sipping bone broth in the evening, she'd gone from feeling sluggish, sore and foggy to being energized, more focused and even pain-free. It wasn't magic. It was the power of nutrition that had been forgotten by most of us in the modern world. These foods aren't just trendy superfoods. They're time-tested nutrition that our grandparents and great-grandparents relied on for good health and long lives. And maybe, just maybe, the secrets to longevity and wellness aren't buried in the newest health trend. Maybe the answers have been with us all along. They're just forgotten. Now it's your turn. Which of these forgotten foods will you try first? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear which one you're most excited to add to your routine. If you found this video helpful and feel inspired to make a change, hit that like button and share it with someone who could use a boost in their health. Don't forget to subscribe for more actionable tips on living your best life after 60.